In this video, you will learn to use systems of equations to solve word problems. Now, when you're solving word problems, there are basically an infinite number of types of questions that could be asked. So my intent in this lesson is not to show you how to solve every single type of question that you might ever possibly see, but it's more to give you the framework so that you can adapt to any type of question that you might be asked. So I'm going to just show you one example, and I'm going to walk you through the thought process that is needed to solve any type of question. So the example I'm going to show you is as follows. The question is, a warehouse has a total of 100 bags of cement. Some bags hold 25 pounds and the rest hold 50 pounds. How many of each type of bag are there if the warehouse stores a total of 3,200 pounds? Now, the first thing you want to do whenever you solve a word problem is figure out what are you really trying to find and use that to set up what my variables are going to be. So the question is asking how many of each type of bag are there? Well, there are 25-pound bags and there are 50-pound bags. So those are going to be my variables. If we let x be the number of 25-pound bags and y be the number of 50-pound bags, we can then use that to set up my equations. So that is your first step, is set up your variables. Your second step is going to be to set up the equations. Once you get the equations, the solving is usually pretty straightforward, but the hard part is setting it up in the first place. So to set them up, what you need to do is look at the pieces of information that's given. So what else do we know in this word problem? Well, we know there are 100 bags, and we know that the total weight is going to be 3,200 pounds. So we're going to have two equations, one that uses the 100 bags, and the other equation using the 3,200 pounds. So equation 1, how do we use the variables to relate to the 100 bags total? Well, x is the number of 25-pound bags. Y is the number of 50-pound bags. We know the total bags is 100. So if I simply add together all my 25-pound bags plus all my 50-pound bags, I know there are 100 bags total. So if I take x plus y, it's going to equal 100. The 25-pound bags plus the 50-pound bags will equal 100 bags total. So that is my first equation. The second equation has to do with the 3,200 pounds. How do I use x and y to relate to the 3,200 pounds? Well, we're dealing with weight here, and somehow our equation has to equal that 3,200 pounds. So we know that for each bag that we have, for each 25-pound bag, it's going to be 25 pounds. So if we have one 25-pound bag, we'll have 25 times 1 pounds. If we have two 25-pound bags, we'll have 25 times 2, or 50 pounds, and etc. So the total weight from the 25-pound bags will be found by taking 25 times the number of bags that we have. So 25 times x will be the weight from the 25-pound bags. So if I have one bag, it'd be 25 pounds. Two bags would be 25 times 2, or 50 pounds. Three bags would be 75 pounds, and etc. And then same thing with the 50-pound bags. We know that the total weight from the 50-pound bags is found by taking 50 times the number of bags. So if we add in that weight as well, 50 times the number of 50-pound bags, that's going to give me the weight from the 50-pound bags. So if I add those two together, the total weight is going to be 3,200. So my second equation would simply be 25x plus 50y equals 3,200. So that's all we do for the setup. We define our variables and then set up our equations that relate the pieces of information that is given to us. Once we have those, then we can solve the equations. So let's solve this one the rest of the way. So looking at the equations, we have x plus y equals 100 and 25x plus 50y equals 3200. Now when you solve a system of equations, what you want to do is you want to get to the point where I can either add or subtract the two equations such that one of the variables will cancel. So if we look at the x's, let's say we want the x's to cancel. The question is, what do I need to do to make that happen? Well, if there's a 25 in front of the x, then we can subtract the two equations and the x's would cancel. Well, to make that happen, I need to multiply that first equation by 25. When I do that, that first equation is going to be 25 times x plus 25 times y equals 25 times 100, which would be 2500. And the second equation would stay the same. So now when I subtract these, that first variable, the x's, will cancel. So now I have no x's remaining, and then I subtract the other two parts of the equations. 25y minus 50y would give you a negative 25y. 2500 minus 3200 gives you negative 700. So to solve this for y, from here, I just divide both sides by negative 25. And when I do that, the 25s will cancel. I'm left with a y. Negative 700 divided by negative 25 would give me a positive 28. So I found y. The question is, what is x? So I can plug y back into either equation. The first one would be the simplest. So if I take x plus 28, we know it has to equal 100. Well, what plus 28 gives you 100? That's going to be 72. So what I found is that there are 72 25-pound bags, and there are 28 50-pound bags. And we can just double check, make sure we got the correct answer by plugging this back in to the original equations. So we know that there are 100 bags total, so 72 plus 28 will give you 100 bags total. So that first equation is good, and we know that the total weight is 3200. So if I have 72 times 25 plus 50 times 28, that would be 1800 plus 1400, which would indeed equal 3200 pounds. So our solution is correct, and we are done. So to recap the thought process, set up your variables. Once we have those, set up your equations, and then step 3, you can solve the equations to find your solution. And always double check just to make sure that you have the correct answer. And that concludes our lesson for today, and we will see you next time.